Hey guys, welcome to a how-to video with two of my friends here, Mr. and Miss Quack. These guys have been hanging out with me since I was a little small boy, and it looks like they'll be helping me, with some trains today. So they tour my garage. So today, what I am doing is installing a sound decoder into a Bluebox GP40-2. Not that you can see that, because that was just really sucky. Anyway, so what I have done so far is I have taken the chuck completely apart, removed the gears, and with the cab side, you notice that there is no longer one of these, this prong. I removed it, so I could maybe put in a cab interior or something. So instead, what I did is, once this is removed, I fed a wire and then I soldered it onto here, onto this little metal plate after I stuck it through this hole. And then with this one issue with Athearn is this. As you notice, there's a lot of dirt and grime on it, which will actually stop electrical conductivity to the frame. So to bypass that, I soldered a wire onto the back of this. Now the solder I used is 6040 resin core solder, and I used some resin soldering flux. When soldering onto these, they don't exactly like to have solder attached to them. So what you have to do is stick the soldering iron on the middle until it gets warm enough for the solder to run onto it and stick. And make sure you do not touch it for at least 2 minutes after you have gotten the wire placed, because it will burn you, and that is very painful. So that is what I've done on this front truck. I've also, as you can kind of tell, replaced the wheels with Northwest Shortline, and I sanded off the rust from the trucks to help the electrical conductivity. And I've already put this together and soldered it to the Tsunami decoder. I've already gone ahead and soldered the motor leads, and then I've gone ahead and, since I kept this on, I went ahead and soldered that part. And this does not have a stock Athearn motor. This is a really old Bluebox. The motor would technically work for DCC if you cleaned it up and fixed it a little bit, but I wasn't having that, so I replaced it with what is known as a Helix humper. They're about $30 for the internal can motor. They work great. They make it work like Kato. It uses, as you can see right here, it uses the same motor mount. It's designed to replace an Athearn motor. The only thing you'd have to do with a lot of these, which is notated in the instructions, is grind down the frame in certain areas, like right here and then back here. So I used a Dremel to do that. That was quite a process, but again, I think it's worth it. Now the speaker you see I'm installing is from Ulrich Models. It is part number 54-DCC-S02M-08. It's an oval speaker. This speaker is basically their the small speaker they have. This one's a little bit larger. As you can kind of tell, they literally just sanded down the sides as much as they could in order for you to get this into the shell. Even with that, with these Blueboxes, it is a very, very tight fit. The only thing I have to worry about, again, is this back prong hitting the actual speaker, damaging it, which obviously we don't want. For headlights for this project, I am going to go ahead and use TCS golden white surface mount LEDs with the wires attached, and then to get it through the light packages, I have some 1.5 millimeter fiber optic cable I got off of eBay. Just type in 1.5 millimeter hobby or fiber optic cable. This will come up. It was really cheap. One thing I am going to work on is making my own set of these, but for right now I'm just going to stick with factory produced, so that's not something else I have to worry about. For my first installation, it comes with a nice, easy to read labeled diagram. This has 1.5 volt common, or just your regular 12 volt common. Actually, that's a 12 volt, that's 1.5 volt. You see there's 6 lighting functions and other little doodads when installing your sound decoder. Sometimes you're going to need a resistor for these lights to work. The nice thing about just buying the TCS, even though it's a little bit more expensive than just making your own, is it tells you what voltage it is. It's a 3.2 volt, and it tells you what to solder to get the brightest output of the light without blowing it up. It also tells you which side to solder the resistor. Now, I usually don't like the brightness of these little surface mount LEDs at full blast, so usually what I do is I'll either put a 1K, which is required for 14 volt, or a 1.2K, which is required for a 16 volt input. The stuff I have to deal with out here, I swear to God.